Okay, today marks a year. Any other physical changes you can probably just notice with your eyes right now? Besides my quarantine hair, not a whole lot else has changed. It's pretty funny. Things pretty much settled back within 4 to 6 months to like my, dimensions and weight and everything from when I was pre-T entirely. Like I reverted back to my 18-year-old measurements, which was really funny. I think the thing I'd like to talk about most, for the sake of brevity, I'll just tell you first person, kind of the way that I went through it, with the implication that you would be hopefully comparing your own experiences and thoughts to what I'm saying to get something useful out of it. For a little bit of background, I'm in a medical program right now. I was doing my clinical rotations at a small lab where they didn't really know I was coming and didn't know about me. And so it was pretty funny at this point in detransitioning. About half of the people there thought I was male and half thought I was female because everyone's in scrubs and like you can't really tell any other way. It was pretty funny and pretty awkward, and I didn't do anything about it until I was talking to some of the ladies who read me as female, and for some reason it came up just to like clarify, like for them, like, yeah, like you got it, you're right, like don't, sorry for the confusion. And they were really nice about it. Oh no, like, well, like why didn't you, why you could tell us sooner, like you didn't have to, be so cagey about it. And I don't really remember what I said, but one of the ladies, I think at some point I just said like I didn't feel like correcting people or didn't really care. And she said like, why not? Like you shouldn't have to deal with this. Like you're a girl. Like people should treat you like one, as if it was just the most obvious thing in the world. And it was so funny to hear from someone who, like, I don't know what her life story was, but who didn't have any of the markers of having gone through any sort of transition. It was pretty refreshing, and so that sort of got me thinking about like, well, why do I let it happen? Like, why don't I think I deserve to be seen as female? I mean, it sort of came back around to why I transitioned in the first place, and maybe this might not ring true for anybody else on the planet. I haven't heard it before, really. But at least for me, I sort of became male out of necessity. Like my primary goal in life is just to not be noticed. Like I don't want anything particular about me to like stick with people or to make me stand out. And so as a kid, whenever I was, misgendered as male, because I was, fairly androgynous, in mannerism especially. Like I was never really interested in like stereotypically feminine things, and was very like kind of cold-hearted and logical for a kid. And it's still that's still my most natural mode of operation. I've since learned to move my eyebrows and things when I talk, but it's it was sort of almost like a punishment for not successfully emanating femininity to be read as male when I was younger, and so I just accepted it, like this is what I deserve for not living up to your expectations. And so that ended up leading into my teens and adolescent years when like boys and men start doing weird things to you, and it sucks. And it sort of seemed like, well, if everyone's like, if I fit, am I going to be a better man than a woman? Like, all I want is to be left alone. So if that's what it's going to take, then sure, like, I'm sure I can live that life. And I did for, 5 years. I was a totally stealth trans man. And so looking at that, it was really helpful in clarifying why it would be okay to correct people. Least of all because it's just a fact. Like I'm female. You can take a DNA test now and nothing about me will lie to you. I still don't really have the courage to correct people. I still have a hard time seeing myself as female enough to pass, even though I am read as female more often than not, despite the fact that we don't go outside anymore. But maybe that'll be helpful for you if you were also the type who wasn't like naturally like butch and proud, but more had masculinity sort of thrust upon you as like, well, you suck at being a girl, so you should be this instead. And of course, now that we're all, old enough to be watching these videos, we know that's stupid, but it takes a while to figure out, and it did take that lady telling me to think about it. I guess the other major thing I'd like to cover is, like I said, I've moved in, maybe I said this, I moved somewhere different, I live with different people now. One of my roommates is also my classmate, and she's lovely, and I told her I was female because I don't really know how you'd hide that sort of thing if you're living with someone in, 600 square feet. So she knows, and I made the mistake of not clarifying for her what I wanted her to say if she accidentally or purposefully told other people that I'm female. And so because of that, she told our program director, I think by accident, and a couple of our classmates who I think sort of in a roundabout way asked her why I had boobs now. And the way that she said it was like a very, I think to her, a very neutral way of like, she went by male pronouns, but she goes by female pronouns now, which is probably fine, but to like, as someone who worked really hard to live as a stealth trans man, this one's Gus, this is her cat. As someone who worked really hard to live as a stealth trans man, it was quite frustrating to have that pretty much immediately derailed by now people assuming that I'm a trans woman. Great, that's the last thing I want. And so I was able to, because she's the most important of these relationships, I was able to clarify with the program director that like, no, like, I know this is what she told you, I'm biologically female, some stuff happened, I don't know. And people have bought that, by the way. If for some reason you ever feel like you need to explain why you look or sound the way you do, you can just say, I don't know, something just happened. And a lot of times people will buy it, which is pretty cool. So that was, I was able to sort of smooth that out. And the program director knows that, like, please don't tell anyone. Like, I'm just trying to get through school without anybody, like, knowing or thinking I'm weird or I just want to be left alone. And so we're going to see how that goes, but I'm almost done. I'm almost graduating. I take the boards soon. And I can start working and treating all you COVID patients. Oh God. But yeah, he's a good boy. So yeah, I'd recommend if you're ever in a position where someone else knows that you have detransitioned, but and there's a chance of them telling other people, make sure you tell them how you want them to tell others, because they might do it in a way that you don't like, and that makes things more complicated and more inconvenient for you to clarify. So the way that I've preferred and the way I've been doing it is if people do confront me about like what on earth I am or what they want me to be referred to as, I just say I'm female. I'm not really comfortable like calling myself a girl or a woman or telling people like she, her pronouns, because those aren't things that I can commit to really as comfortably as I can commit to my biological reality, which is that I'm female, and people can do what they want with that knowledge, which sometimes is nothing. Sometimes nothing changes, which is pretty funny. But yeah, 2 little things to think about for you, I think. This video is getting pretty long, and this cat's getting pretty needy. But I'll try to keep more updates. Oh goodness, thank you. Thanks a lot. Come here. I haven't done really anything from a legal aspect because I was working 6 days a week, and then everything went on lockdown, so I haven't really had a chance to go into any courthouses. So that'll be the next step, I think, once I can figure out how on earth to work it, so I can get my medical licensure and everything sorted out as quickly as possible, because I don't look anything like my driver's license anymore. Yeah, that's enough for now. Thank you to everyone who said such nice things on the last video. I haven't really checked YouTube in 1,000 years, and so it was really kind of touching to see all that. Yeah, I do appreciate your support and stuff. I'm not really good at this, but I'm genuinely glad that it can be helpful, and I hope I can continue to help. If there's anything you want me in particular to look into, or to think more about, or give you biased advice on, I don't know, please feel free to let me know. Yep, I think next it'll be some name change stuff, and then I'll have some more information for you on how to do that. All right, see you next time. Stay safe, all right?